Hi everyone, Hobo here again. This time with instead of just a straight commentary or a straight uh, roaming video with just music, I decided I'm going to do a little bit of a mixture between the two. Um, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. I'll put a link just within the video that can pop you towards where I stop speaking, in case that's not something you guys enjoy. Uh, so hopefully you guys do enjoy it, and I'll see you next time. So this first fight's going to be me against the Power Mesmer, and when you're fighting a Power Mesmer, the biggest thing I found is you need to capitalize on not letting him create too much space. So right off the bat, I'm able to dodge the berserker, and I try and get a pull in just to make him have to blow blink, and he ends up doing that. Um, so one thing, another thing with Power Mesmer is that typically, if you're using the shout healed in this fight I am, you can use their clones to keep your Death Shroud really, really well topped off. So he's been taking a lot of pressure, but I'm really pretty good. He hits me with a grav well, and I just stay in Shroud because I know that, alright, I can use the damage reduction in Shroud to keep myself in a good HP level. And now he's still pressured, has to blow his second grav well, but I still have my stun break, so stun break it, try and pull him again. And you see that he's still able to kite me around pretty well, but I'm able to top off my Death Shroud again just via the Greatsword 3 on his clones, and then now I still have pretty much full Shroud, and he is out of cooldowns, and all it's going to take is just one more little Reaper swap, and then he's down. So um, when you're fighting Power Mesmers, it's always going to be a tough fight if they're able to create the space, but in this case, I was able to kite them around and keep them locked in on me just enough that I was able to kill them off relatively quickly. So this fight's mainly a 1v1 against a thief, and then a Conde Warrior comes in at the end. But so a lot of people ask me, all right, how do you deal with thieves with the builds you run? And against good thieves, it's really, really difficult. One advantage I have in this fight is that I have my scrambling horror shout, and so what that allows me to do is that whenever I fight thieves is I try and position my scrambling horror between them and myself, so that if he tries to headshot me, he just hits the scrambling horror because they do block those. So that's what I'm trying to do this entire fight and trying to prevent him from getting too much damage in on me. So he's still able to do it a little bit, dodge his fear. He's just spamming headshot. Now he's pretty much out of things, and he eats my elite shout because I knew that he would be pretty much out of cooldowns and initiative at that point, and that seals the entire fight for me. So for this one, I just had to be patient enough to seal that. Now I'm really pressured though as the Conde Warrior comes in. He's able to down me. I try and fear away the Conde Warrior. I can't, but I do get a rally. And then at this point, I have to turn onto the Conde Warrior. And honestly, with this build, Conde Warrior isn't terribly problematic. And really, is because I have all these transfers, and he has no ways to deal with that, and he doesn't have the damage to out DPS me through those transfers usually. So you can see that while I'm really low, he's about to go down, and um, unfortunately, that scrapper that's roaming by comes back and decides that he's just going to power res the guy, and I can't get an interrupt off, which is too bad and causes me to lose it. But it just really showcases that this Conde Warrior, they just don't have the baseline damage to be able to keep up, and although I lose the fight, I thought it was a good demonstration. So this fight's once again up against that Conde Warrior I just fought, and as I mentioned before, I have the advantage because I just have to be patient with my cooldown usage. So he ends up surprising me here as I type away to someone I'm messaging, and I just kind of dodge away because I don't want to be hit by his stuns. I do eat his stun right there, but then I get my transfer off, and uh, that puts him at a disadvantage because he's already had to blow Berserker stance. I pop down my blind field just so I can create the space because he's melee, and that means that I can just use that as a sort of warding tool, and boom, he's already down. Despite all the tankiness he has in the build, he just can't keep up with the transfers that I'm putting back onto him the entire fight. So that was a really easy 1v1 to be honest. So this fight's going to be Thorp and myself up against a group of 4. Guardian, Warrior, Mesmer, and Ellie. The Mesmer has a dragon banner to start off, and we decide to just focus him at the start. Let's get that banner out of his hands. And we're able to do a pretty good job about that. We're able to down him relatively quickly, especially since I had Shroud up, so I just drop down my ice field and go for a nice little spin, and I'm able to pretty much down both of them as soon as Thorp comes back. So both these guys are down. I freeze them just because I want the stability while we kind of try and cleave these out. What I didn't expect was that the warrior was going to have a war banner. So he's able to get the war banner off, and now I'm actually at a deficit despite my HP being okay, because I've burned all my cooldowns, and my Axe 2 just misses for no reason on this guy. So I'm trying to kite around despite having no Shroud, get a decent corrupt off on the Ellie right before he immobilizes me, and use my run signet to actually top off my health a bit. I have to run through this Guardian Circle because I don't want to be trapped in it, but I end up getting knocked down twice. Anet, please look at that. And I end up going down. So Thorp's running a tankier build, and he's able to go in for the res on me. It wasn't actually as close as it looks. But I am able to get my heal off, and once again, I'm still trying to get my Death Shroud up to a level I can enter it. My run signet's back up, so I'm able to pop it and top off my HP, off all the clones, but still I don't have any Death Shroud. So finally I get an Axe 2 off, and I'm able to go into Death Shroud, and we both pop down our ice field, which ends up being key because this Ellie eats so much of the damage that despite me going down and him having stability, he ticks out in 3 ticks to our bleeds. Also, Nerf, definitely chill, please, Anet. But at this point, we've put so much pressure overall on these two players that the Guardian's almost down and the Ellie's already down, and then we're able to just cleave out all 3 of these guys, at which point the warrior, who's been a total non-factor the entire fight, continues to show that he will be a non-factor for the entirety of this fight despite his war banner usage early on. So that was a good fight that we had against these two, mainly because of their ability to res and get those 2 people up at the start. So this fight's up against another Viper's Greatsword Necro. And so I'm killing off the camp, and he was off to the side, but I decided to let him be since I saw he was Greatsword and Vipers, and he decides to come in and attack, and I try and lead off with my pole, but it misses. I'm able to cancel out my blind field, and I try and push in and transfer some of the condies with my Suffer. I dodge out his pole right there and get my heal off just to make myself topped off. I see that he is decently pressured, pops in the Shroud, he doesn't have a lot, and as soon as he exits it, I transfer and then go back around for the days just to make sure that he's able to be finished off, and he is, and then I just cleave him out with the Claimer in the camp. I had some good fights against this guy throughout the week, actually. Alright, so these guys, I have a 1v2 against a Herald and a Berserker, so I dodge off the initial little stun there, and then kite away from the warrior while I focus on the hammer rev because he's my biggest threat. And then I go for the freeze. They really made the mistake of eating way too much of my cleave, and so the warrior, who I wasn't even focusing, is really low, and all he has left is his healing signet, resistance, and then as soon as that goes away, he downs off quickly. To close the gap, I stay in Death Shroud, but of course as soon as I try and press Death Shroud 2, I get taunted, but all that leads me into is a weapon swap combo onto the Herald, and he ends up dying. So, as I've said before, you can't stand in cleave. This fight would have been much tougher for me if they had known to keep their space, especially when I dropped down or was entering Reaper Shroud. So, but since they didn't, I was able to cleave them out really, really quickly. Despite this being a relatively tanky Herald and the other one being a warrior who had Zerker stance, he just wasn't able to utilize it properly because of that.
Told me there'd be nights like these. No, I just wanna smoke with my friends in the park like we used to. Now I'm driving down Melrose. Shit is really kinda feeling like a hellhole. And I don't know, where did all my friends go? Tell me, where did all my friends go? This is what you listen to in the Marauder. When you don't give a fuck about anything. What you listen to in the Marauder. This is the soundtrack to the game. I'm supposed to do like them and die young. Cause now I'm someone else's hero. I drive slow, and now I'm driving through my hometown, the one that every time I go I always hold down. And now it's feeling like a ghost town. Why's it feeling like a ghost town? This is what you listen to in the Marauder. Yeah. When you don't give a fuck about anything. This is what you listen to in the Marauder. This is the soundtrack to the game. Marauder music. Fuck a Maybach. Soundtrack to the let's go. This is what you listen to in the Marauder. Yeah. When you don't give a fuck about anything. Yeah. This is what you listen to in the Marauder. Yeah. This is the soundtrack to the game. Yeah. In the Marauder. Anything. No. In the Marauder. Alright.
Like a waterfall in slow motion.
Alright. B major. Southfield. Elzai. And Nick Fly. I'm still trying to do it big for my hometown. And when I'm back, we gon' go all night. Let me see those mittens up in the sky. Let me clear my throat. Somebody take my coat. Alright, got the new to the game, hunger. I've been running around, gunning them down, giving them all a fake number. Apologies for that. Sorry, I gotta keep my suitcase packed. You could add it to the arsenal. It's that gold band, Donnie Darko flow. Hey, lady, I didn't catch your name, lady. Let me do it to you good all night. Cause the nose ring might as well be a bullseye. Let me clear my throat. Cool. The goal was to go and get Scott Storch though. And stay away from wearing Scott Storch clothes. Have I done it yet? Not quite. I'm back up in your city, never the same chick twice. Damn, homie. In high school you was the man, homie. Damn, what the fuck happened to you? All my plaques just sitting in the closet. Cause I ain't had time to get a new spot yet. Don't I just glide on the beat? Ain't I so smooth on that motherfucker? Bingo, my mixtape shit going harder than your single. Let me clear my throat.
What up, though? Elzai, broadcasting live from the district. Motown, Great Lakes, Detroit, stand up. Could we be called the Motor City? Cause we're living in the fast lane. Get gas, driven to flash, all of our cash gain. May dive, trying to stay fly like a crash plane. Trying to get past pain, dodge a splash rain or gas within your mass brain. From a blast, now your ass slain. The whole hood's high off, pills, grass, cane. With many stuck, needles in they last vein. Sharp as a tuck, Cheeto in the glass and upper class Spain. And I ain't bullshitting, the wolves getting inside of this wool mitten so cold. And growing up, near these auto industry entities, you instantly keep an eye on your road. Let me clear my throat.
Mobbing. D-Town, West Side. Look. D-Town, East Side. Look. Dirty blood. Mittens up, free wine, R.I.P. Blade.
Bitches fuck off our diamond Cartier shades. We call them buff, symbolize when we getting paid. Some niggas tuck, some act tough and wind up in the grave. But look, I still love ice in my rollie. Love my nigga Posey. Love nights at the Coney. When I'm drunk off the Rosie, texting a cold hoe, telling her that I love her, but I really don't though. Let me clear my throat.
Slow.